Hello and welcome to day 13. Wow, we're making tremendous progress in this 40-day global study of Maimonides program where we're going through his laws of Teshuvah in anticipation of the climax of the entire season of repentance with Yom Kippur. So here we are in law 3.6 and 3.7. Maimonides is now going to enter into an extended discussion of the many different ways that people can mess up theologically and then later practically. It's complicated and in some ways difficult, but let's go through it, and if in doubt, just put it on 2x speed and we'll get to something that's a little easier shortly. Anyways, here we go. Even though we said in the last halacha, and we will say again many times, that don't worry, everybody has a place in the world to come as long as they're basically righteous. We'll talk about what that means over the course of the next 25 odd days. Nevertheless, technically, it is possible to lose out in the world to come through some of these various theological errors. Again, this is really theoretical in nature. Maimonides will undercut his argument, constantly saying, "Don't worry about it. All you got to do is tshuva, and you're all set." But here we go. These are the people who do not have a share in the world to come. Rather, they are cut off and lost, and judged according to the severity of their wickedness and sins for all time. It sounds really scary. Just remember, Maimonides is going to say, don't worry, but let's read it now. The minim, that's kind of translated as the types. We'll see who the minim are in the next halacha. The apikorsim, this is a traditional word used in Aramaic and Yiddish. It comes from the Greek word epikuros, which is like Epicurean comes from that as well. It's also a type of a theological heresy, we'll see. Those who deny Torah, we don't know exactly what that means yet. Those who deny the resuscitation of the dead, meaning with the time of the Messiah. Those who deny the coming of the Redeemer, Messianic period. The apostates, and those who cause others to sin. Those who separate from the ways of the community, sounds really harsh, we'll see why. One who sins in a haughty and public manner, like Yehoiakim, one of the kings of the Bible. Finally, almost finally, penultimately, the informers and those who provoke needless fear in the community, and those who shed blood and those who spread gossip. The fact that shedding blood is so low in this list means that the other things must be very serious. And finally, those who deny the covenant. This last aspect specifically seems to be a reference to those who wish to try and deny their special relationship with the Jewish people, and by extension to God. That was a phenomenon in the ancient world, in the medieval world, just as it is today. So now what Maimonides does in the next halacha, and in the following few halachas we'll go over the next few days, he breaks down those segments into subsegments. So here we go. You'll recall that one of the first groups he mentioned were the minim, which means like the types. What does that mean? There are 5 types of minim. One who says there is no God, that the world has no master. Basically kind of like a pure atheism, a Nietzschean kind of atheism. The one who, there's in the second one now, the one who says there is a master, but that there are 2 or more of them. Right? Like a polytheistic approach was very problematic for Maimonides and the Jewish tradition as a whole. 3, the one who says there is one master, but he is a physical being. Right? Also very difficult. Maimonides and Judaism believes in an incorporeal God. 3b, and similarly the one who says he was not the first creator of all, meaning, okay, we have a God, but there was a God before the God. That's also problematic because the Jewish God is timeless, is infinite in space and time, all of that. One who worships another God in order that he will act as an intercessor between him and the master of the universe, meaning there's the God, and then there's like a little God, and we ask the little God to help us with the big God, also very problematic. Note that, by the way, Maimonides here does not address how this affects non-Jews. In some cases, some of these theological categories would be forbidden to Jews, but not necessarily to non-Jews. Not for our discussion today. Each one of these 5 is called a min. Okay, so that's the first category of theological error that Maimonides will catalog. Tomorrow we'll go over the second error, the apikorsim. Thank you very much for listening.